Hi, I'm James Schillinglaw here at ILTMCon, and this is a busy ILTM, the most people ever, about 10,000 people at this one. It's an amazing show, and I'm with a familiar face here, J.D. O'Hara, who's the CEO of Internova Travel Group. And we've talked to J.D. before. He's got a massive travel agency organization, and he was actually giving a press conference earlier today. And so we thought we'd sit down with him and talk to them about why he's here, first of all, but there's some really good reasons, and a lot about where Internova is today. You'll find out about that and more on Insider Travel Report. JD, first of all, great to see you.
You as well. Thanks for having me, James.
Absolutely. So you've been coming to this show for a while, past few years. This year, I was on Sunday, I was walking as I usually do, going past the Palais, going down to the Christmas markets because that's where I can get some food. Okay. And I see this massive sign for Internova. You have such a strong presence here. You did a press conference and you've got a lot of travel advisors. I mean, how is this happening right now? You're really ramping up in luxury travel, right?
We are. We made a commitment to double down in the luxury space. You know, coming out of the pandemic, for the most part, we've always been large in luxury, but we've really committed to that space in the last few years, especially. So the sign out front is really about awareness. I think also Internova, as you know, is only 3 or 4 years old, and so it's a little bit about education on who we are. But having the presence here, we've heard lots of great feedback from it, so we're happy with the investment.
So you've had a good time at these shows the last few years?
This is one of my favorite shows. First of all, the location is unbelievable. I'll never ever get sick of this part of the world, so that's helpful. But the people are here. It's all the right people, very few of the wrong ones, but I won't mention names. Well,
that's another interview.
Yeah, that's a different story. That's right. But it's all the right people, and I think it's 10,000 people here this year. Yeah. However, the quality of the meetings and the quality of the relationships hasn't waned at all. So very much worthwhile. And it's a nice way to it's this annual pilgrimage, I think of it as.
It is a pilgrimage. I've been doing it for 20 years now, and it just keeps getting bigger. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about Internova Travel Group today, because you've kind of restructured things around, and in fact, at the press conference, you were showing the org chart of how it works. Tell me how it works.
Sure. So as you know, this is a culmination of 50 plus acquisitions over the last almost 20 years. And so, I think we did a pretty good job of buying things in the past. I think we did less of a good job of making sense of it. So I've tried to organize things in a way that caters to who our client is. And so we've got, we provide travel services in 3 main categories: leisure, corporate, and entertainment. Right. We then have 3 divisions that we service those into. And the first one is we think of the travel advisor, the independent contractor, as our client. That's who we provide services to. So in the luxury space, we branded Global Travel Collection.
With Angie and all that. Angie Lycia, right?
And Angie's doing a wonderful job. Almost 1,800 advisors in that group that are all incredible in their own, what they do on a daily basis continues to blow my mind. Then more, I guess, tech-enabled advisor in the know experiences. So those are the 2 brands that
I know In the Know. Yeah.
Sure. Those are the 2 brands that focus in the luxury space. And then we have a very large, Jackie Friedman very well, very large host agency called Nexion with around 5,000 or 6,000 home-based advisors.
We just interviewed Jackie last week.
She's a celebrity in our world, isn't she?
Absolutely. He's also asked the president, but asked the chair.
Yes, she is. So that's where we cater to the travel advisor. We then, of course, participate in where we cater to the travel agency, independently owned, affiliated agencies in our consortium business. That's Travel Leaders Network, of course, with 6,000 or so members, and that represents almost 90,000 travel advisors, believe it or not, selling travel in our system some way, shape, or form. The last category that we have, or division that we have, is where we service the traveler directly, and that's with our employees. So we do that in 2 categories. One is Altour, that's our corporate travel division. We've taken that brand, and that's going to be our corporate space. Within that, we have a meetings and events business called Your Event Solutions. And then lastly, we have a number of brands that we still have some rebranding to do that we cater directly to both the luxury and premium leisure travel with Andrew Harper and CrewCon and some of the other brands. And that we're still working out some of the branding we'll subside some of those brandings and collapse them a little bit.
So are you basically also trying to create Internova as a travel brand, would you say?
Maybe, accidentally. I'm not sure that was the plan originally, but it seems to have become the case.
If you put a huge sign in the front of this, it's certainly become a brand to these folks. Well, maybe not a consumer brand.
Well, what it's become the one thing that bands all those brands together, and our products all operate under the Internova brand. So we've got our Select Hotel program and Curated and Worldwide and Distinctive Voyages. Those are all now Internova products that all of our brands consume. And so Internova's kind of banded these things together, and it's become a brand, possibly by accident, but it's not a consumer-facing brand. It's more of a holding company.
But I tell you something, it's starting to get known, and people know Internova, and you're talking a lot about it. Now, you also happen to have acquired all these companies and built this whole thing at an age when suddenly travel advisors are in demand, right?
They certainly are, more so than ever. In fact, I hate to belabor the pandemic times, but our advisors worked harder than ever, not only to not make money, but actually to give money back. Commissions that they'd earned, they actually had to refund and rebate back to the partners. So it was a way for them to showcase exactly where they deliver value.
And then, of course, after the pandemic, it's been like gangbusters ever since, because they can't keep up with the amount of demand. Even this year, when you thought there'd be a little bit of a pushback, maybe not as good year because you're coming off some great years, it's still great.
2024 will be our best year ever, despite some headwinds that we'd not seen in the past. But the biggest issue we're having with advisors is actually finding time, just time.
You can't find them. You brought a lot of them in, but now there's such a demand for them, yes. And I guess you have even an organization, Travel Leaders of Tomorrow, that you can train them, right?
Yep. Travel Leaders of Tomorrow is a school effectively for those that want to enter the industry and become travel advisors. But I think the entire service industry, frankly, is having a similar issue. But it's starting to come back where finding help is a little bit easier now. Where I don't know where everyone went, but they seem to be coming back into the service industry.
I think people recognize this is a growing profession, and more people are going to come in. Look, I've been doing this for 30 years, and I haven't heard such a demand for travel advisors in my entire career. I mean, travel agents, I still come from the things, what do you mean they're travel advisors? It's all online, right? And I say no, and I go through the whole thing, and then I give them the spiel. I said, what if you had a job that you could travel anywhere, all over the world, you could, have incredible your own business, and you could you're going to work hard, not question, and you could earn six figures. And everybody says, what's that job? And the punchline used to be travel agent. Now we call them travel advisor. And I think a lot of people finally caught on, especially during COVID, because people were out of work. People didn't have, while travel advisors were cooling their heels for that period, working hard, as you said, that whole thing was a renaissance. There was going to be a renaissance in the profession at that point, right? It's
not to mention it's a little bit of fun as well. By the way, 7 figures for some of ours.
7 figures
for more than you might.
Where do I sign up?
Yeah, exactly. Me too. But no, they're. I think you're exactly right. I think educating people that we exist as a species is job number one. I can sell anybody on a travel advisor one-on-one, but the secret is to do that at scale. But I've converted many naysayers into absolute supporters of what we do, 100%.
Yeah, and also you really do need a travel advisor, especially all the trips that they're organizing here and planning, and everybody the meeting. Now, anything else? We go out to about 127,000 travel advisors out there in the market. Anything you want to say to them about Internova, about your presence here, or anything like that?
Look, I think we think being humble and being honest with our advisors and with our partners is very important, and we make one decision at a time. And so far, we've made a series of pretty good decisions, I think, and we'll continue hopefully down that path. But we're going to keep growing. We're invested heavily into this, and we're not going anywhere. We're certainly going to keep growing, and we're looking forward to some fun things to come in the next few years.
Absolutely. Well, JD, thank you for taking the time to be with us here today. We're doing a ton of interviews here, and I definitely wanted to interview you because you guys have such a strong presence here. All the travel advisors here, it's such a renaissance of this, because the audience is travel advisors and travel suppliers on the luxury level. And they're all here, 10,000 of them. It's a pretty amazing happening, right?
It sure is. Yeah, this is one of my favorite times of the year, events of the year, but at this time of the year, it's kind of a way to wrap up the year and get ready for next year, and I look forward to this every single year, yeah.
Okay, hopefully we'll see you back in New York. I'm heading back there on Friday. I'm James Shillinglaw here at ILTM Con, and this is Insider Travel Report.